Genesis 13 is a captivating chapter filled with lessons on faith, obedience, and the complex dynamics of human relationships. It's a story of contrast, choice, and consequence, and it begins with one simple, powerful act. Abram leaves Egypt, reorients himself, and makes the difficult but essential decision to return to the place where God had originally spoken to him. In the opening verses, we see a man who, despite his past mistakes in Egypt, is still seeking God's direction. So Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him, to the Negev. Genesis 13:1. This is a fresh start, a reminder that no matter how far we might stray, God provides the opportunity for a comeback even after we've made mistakes. The chapter then highlights Abram's wealth, a symbol of God's blessings upon him. Now, Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. Genesis 13:2. Yet despite his success, Abram knows that wealth can sometimes create division, and this realization sets the stage for one of the most significant choices of his life. In verses 5 to 7, a conflict arises between Abram's herders and Lot's herders over the land they both occupy. Both men have been blessed so much that the land itself could not support them both. Their wealth and success, blessings in one sense, have created tension. Abram, a man of great faith, handles this with wisdom and generosity. He offers Lot the first choice of the land. Let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herders and my herders, for we are kin. Genesis 13:8. In an era where conflict over land was common, Abram's magnanimous spirit is remarkable. He prioritizes peace and unity over personal gain. This is a powerful lesson on humility and putting others before ourselves, something that all too often gets lost in the pursuit of wealth and status. Lot, in contrast, chooses based on what seems best for him in the moment. He gazes at the fertile plains of the Jordan River, which appear like the Garden of Eden itself. And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw that the Jordan Valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, in the direction of Zoar. Genesis 13:10. Lot makes his decision driven by earthly desires without considering the long-term consequences. The allure of prosperity blinds him to the spiritual implications of his choice. It's a cautionary tale about how, sometimes, what seems like the best material option can lead to the worst spiritual outcomes. Once Lot chooses, Abram moves to the land of Canaan. The peace between the two men is solidified, and God's promise to Abram is reaffirmed. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offspring forever." Genesis 13:14-15. Here, God reaffirms his covenant with Abram, reinforcing that his obedience and selflessness will lead to greater blessings. The land that once seemed uncertain is now clearly marked as his inheritance. This moment is a turning point. Abram's decision to walk in faith, trusting God's promises, makes him the recipient of blessings beyond measure. In verses 17-18, Abram builds an altar at Hebron and calls upon the name of the Lord, reaffirming his commitment to God. It's an act of worship, acknowledging that no matter what happens, his allegiance lies with God alone. The physical land he possesses is only valuable because of the spiritual value it holds. Genesis 13 offers profound insights into human nature, choices, and divine promises. The story of Lot's choice is an enduring lesson about the dangers of living by sight rather than by faith. While Lot chose the land that looked the best to his eyes, he ultimately chose a path that led to destruction. Genesis 19. Abram, on the other hand, chose the path of humility and peace, and was rewarded with God's continued guidance and blessings. The key lesson here is one of trust. While Lot focused on immediate advantages, Abram trusted that God would honor his decision to prioritize others. The contrast is striking. Lot's decision seems logical on the surface, but it leads him toward the ruin of Sodom and Gomorrah. Abram's choice is selfless, and it brings him into the heart of God's plan. The real treasure wasn't in the land, but in the promises of God that were tied to the land. Another powerful takeaway is that when we're faithful to God, even in moments of great opportunity, He will provide. Abram's willingness to let go of control and trust God with his future is the epitome of faith. As we navigate life's decisions, we can learn from Abram's example that true wealth is found in God's presence, not in the material things of this world. Genesis 13 reminds us that how we handle our blessings can reveal where our hearts truly lie. Will we choose peace and trust God's provision? Or will we be consumed by the temptations of this world? The chapter calls us to examine our priorities, our relationships, and ultimately our faith. It's a timeless lesson for anyone striving to live by God's will.